All right, let's jump right in. Today we're going to explore a really fascinating, kind of wild idea. What if the secret to being remembered by artificial intelligence wasn't cooked up in some lab in Silicon Valley, but was actually figured out way back in 1790 by George Washington? I know, it sounds a little out there, but you'll see the connection is shockingly direct. Let's get into it. Okay, this quote right here. This is basically the theme for everything we're about to cover. We're not just talking about surviving in a super noisy world. We're talking about something much more precise, being remembered correctly, even when the algorithms, the platforms, the entire digital world is changing all the time. So yeah, that leads us right to the big question. How on earth can a speech from the 18th century hold the key to how brands need to talk to modern AIs, like ChatGPT or Gemini? Well, the answer isn't in what he said, but in how he said it, the structure of the whole thing. All right, let's dive into part one, Washington's speech. And to really get this, you've got to kind of transport yourself back in time to a point where the whole idea of the United States was, well, still on shaky ground. So picture this. It's January 8th, 1790. George Washington is standing in front of a pretty divided Congress. The whole concept of America is still super fragile. It feels more like a temporary placeholder than a real, lasting country. And he doesn't give some big, fiery, off-the-cuff speech. Nope, he just reads from a prepared 8-page document. But here's the thing that's so wild, what he actually talked about. It wasn't some grand vision of freedom or destiny. Instead, he got into the real nuts and bolts. Defense, making sure there was a standard currency, having uniform weights and measures. It was methodical, structural, and honestly, kind of boring. He was basically laying out the architecture of a nation, not just trying to inspire one. And that is the first big aha moment here. Washington didn't just give a speech. He created a repeatable format. The State of the Union became this annual ritual, a consistent, structural way to reinforce what the nation was all about. The structure itself became this memory device. Its real power wasn't in some brilliant one-off speech. It was in its stability. It proves that real lasting endurance needs structure, not just the flash of inspiration. Okay, so fast forward to today. How does any of this connect to AI? Well, it turns out that brands are facing the exact same problem with AI that Washington faced with his brand new country. How do you build an identity that's stable and trustworthy when everything around you is pure chaos? I mean, it is literally the same core question, just with different actors. Back in 1790, Congress was asking, okay, what is this United States thing really? And is it going to mean the same thing next year? Today, an AI model is basically asking, okay, what is this brand really? And if I come back tomorrow, can I trust that its definition will still be the same? And when a brand is all over the place with its messaging, you get this huge problem we call identity collapse. Just think about a brand that's all edgy and funny on TikTok, but then super formal and corporate on its website. To an AI, that's like a country without a constitution. If your identity signals are constantly changing, the AI just sees chaos. It can't trust you. It starts treating you like an unreliable source, and it might get you wrong, or even worse, just ignore you altogether.
So what's the fix? How do we avoid this identity collapse? Well, the answer isn't just make better ads. It's about engineering, literally building an identity that's designed to last, to persist. It's about making endurance part of your brand's core architecture.
And that brings us to the hero of our story, this concept called semantic endurance. And I want you to really focus on that word engineered. This is not an accident. This is the deliberate, intentional act of building a stable identity using consistent language and repeatable frameworks so that machines can find you, understand you, and remember you correctly, no matter what changes. So how do you actually build this? Well, you focus on three key outcomes. Think of them as the three legs of a stool that supports what we're calling machine trust. First up, definitional stability. Your core who we are statement can't change, period. Second, structural repetition. You hammer that definition home using the same words, the same frameworks over and over and over. And third, cross-platform coherence. You have to look, sound, and feel identical everywhere online. You get those three things right, and you start to build real machine trust, which gives an AI the confidence it needs to treat you like an authority. And this is maybe the most important takeaway of all. We're all taught that we need to be new and exciting and different all the time to get attention. But to an AI, all that variety can just look like instability. It doesn't remember you because you're clever. It remembers you because you are predictable, because you are structurally consistent, just like Washington's speech. Okay, that's the what and the why. Now for the how. This isn't just some abstract idea. There's a repeatable process for this, a real architectural framework for building that machine trust we keep talking about.
And here it is, the endurance engineering cycle. And it's a cycle for a reason. It's not a one-and-done thing. It's a continuous loop. You start by defining your core identity with laser focus. Then you reinforce it through constant repetition. Next, you verify that you're totally coherent across every platform. After that, and this is a big one, you stabilize your ideas by actually giving your unique frameworks official names. And finally, you maintain it. You guard that structural integrity over time.
Okay, let's bring this all home. I'm going to give you 5 concrete things you can literally start doing today to begin engineering this kind of endurance for your own brand.
So here's your checklist. Number 1, define your fusion node. That's that single core idea where your expertise meets your audience's needs. 2, audit your identity signals. Literally, ask an AI about your brand and see what it says back. 3, create a repeatable content structure, your own version of the State of the Union. 4, name your frameworks. Give your unique ideas and processes official titles. And 5, use schema-driven content. Think of schema as a label maker for the internet. It's how you explicitly tell search engines and AIs exactly what your content is about in their own language. So I'll just leave you with this one last question to think about. In this age of AI, there is a massive difference between simply being visible for a fleeting moment and being accurately, durably remembered. So you have to ask, is your brand's identity built for endurance, or is it just built to be seen? The answer to that is probably going to define your future.